Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's a cough there. How's everybody? This first Friday in November. Can you guys believe it, man? First Friday in November of 2022. Wow. This is the 11th month of the year. You know, it's pretty incredible. So, hey, it's Gus Tucker. We're here at Financial Freedom Fridays, and we're having a conversation, and I really need to hear from you via email, in the comments, because I know this format, we can't necessarily talk back and forth, but by you commenting and sending in emails and whatnot, we can do more kind of interactive, okay? Because we went through a lot of the information on creating financial independence, and then one of the things that hit me is that all of those things happen in context of the world in which we live in. And if you're a Black American, and what I mean by Black American is someone who, if you go back 2 or 3 generations or even 4 or more, everybody was born in America. It wasn't like your parents or even your parents' parents were born in Africa and they came over here. So Black Americans primarily are people who can trace their history. For all intent and purposes, they're Americans. Because there's no place to go home, so to speak, in Africa. I'm 40+% Nigerian, but I can't trace myself to this person in Nigeria with this home that's there for me. You understand what I'm saying? So as Black Americans and African Americans, we live in a context here in America because we all have on the same uniform that we got at birth. That same uniform is your black or brown or light brown or tan skin. And you're a Black American or African American. So based on that, you're in a certain slot at birth for the most part, socially, financially, politically. It's almost like a caste system. And it has some impact on how you can make money. So one of the things I wanted to step back, and then we're going to get back into the straight financial stuff, is to talk about what's a strategy that we all need to be employing together as a group of Black people to change our situation. So I just want to have a conversation about it. And in a selfish way, I'm using this to educate myself. If you had to rate your education about your understanding of the history of Black people in America and key Black people in our history, how would you grade yourself? Hey, Tina from Houston, thanks for chiming in. How would you grade yourself on a 1 scale of 1 to 10? 1, man, I don't know nothing. To 10, I'm an expert and I can be teaching this class. Because if you say 10, I'm gonna call you for some help. But I'm using this time to improve my understanding by having this conversation with you, okay? So, creating pathways to financial independence for Black Americans. And to help us create an economic environment to empower us to win. Hey, Bernice from Michigan. That's what you... Lanai or Lene, how you doing? So, why are we doing this podcast? And essentially, this is a class, almost, if you will, to support as many Black Americans and African Americans in applying the practical tools and understanding to gain financial independence and sustain it for multiple generations. What are 10 things that you want to see happen to you for yourself financially that costs money in the next 12 to 18 months? I've got a list. My business team, we all put together a list of things we want to see happen. And we got a plan to do it, and we're all executing it We have daily accountability around it, so we're taking steps towards it. So you need a plan. What are 12 or 18 things you want to see happen to yourself? Or top 10 things in the next 12 to 18 months that you want to see happen for yourself financially? What are they? Okay. What's financial independence? What our goal is to create an environment where you can create financial independence for yourself and your family. And it's having enough money, enough personal wealth come in where you don't have to wake up every day and go work for money. There are people that wake up and they don't think about money. They just think about what they're going to do for the day, how they're going to make a difference in their life, the life of their family and other people. And they never think about money. Having enough of it, they just don't think about it. It's not a consideration. Man, what would it be to live like that? Oh, it's coming very soon. It's coming very soon. How can we develop by Black people for Black people? So one, we need a strategy as a whole. As a people, we need a strategy to change our economic position and political power in America. It's midterm elections, right? And everybody's up in arms about vote for this person, don't vote for that, vote for this thing, don't vote for that thing. My question is why? What goal are you shooting for that voting for this person or that person is going to bring clear into view? What specifically have you asked for, or have we asked for as people from the people we're going to elect, and then hold them accountable to providing them? What are those things that are going to move us forward financially, politically, that we're asking for as people get our votes? Okay, so we're going to study the writings and ideas of Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. It just gives us a point to start talking about. And he's done a lot of the research about his books. I'm going to encourage you to. These 5 books right here. These 5 books right here. Can't see them. Can't see them on the screen. Okay, but there's 5 of them here. There's 5 of them here. Okay? And we're going to talk about these concepts that he brought up. Read his biography. He's been in government. He's been in business at high levels. And since 1860, Blacks still control less than 1% of the wealth of the U.S. So for 160 years, we haven't gotten anywhere. Individual people have, but as a group, we have not. 160 years, no real progress. Now, yeah, I get it. In terms of the strides that have been made, got it. When you look at the numbers and the performance, it hasn't changed. So, a perspective is, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, we should work together as a group. Demand what we want together. Leadership. Would you guys agree we need economic justice, wealth, and power? Because 90% of the wealth is with one group of people, ethnically. I don't think they're 10 times better than everybody else. Okay? In a competitive society, there are no mechanisms to give voice to unorganized and inarticulate groups. Or as we say, closed mouths don't get fed. So you need to open your mouth and then say something that people can understand so you can get what it is you want. And it needs to be specific. Yeah, I believe Black Lives Matter. I believe, yes, we can. But what specifically do you want to see happen? How would you measure success for us? Those are things I like us to talk about, think about. Civil rights movement did a lot of great stuff. Got a lot of great rights. But some of the things we're going to talk about is, did integration help us or hurt us? We're going to talk about that. Did it help us or hurt us? How did the civil rights movement impact the maldistribution of wealth? 87 to 90% of wealth is still with one group of people, and it hasn't changed in 160 years. What direction are we headed as a people, and how are we going to get there? Who are the next wave of leaders that are going to take us there? What's our plan to make that happen? We're a 400-year group, a 400-year group of people. Do we have a coherent strategy together to move forward? So just some things to think about. It's not throwing stones, it just is. Hey, black people built America. It says in this thought bubble, we raised the food and the children of white families. Y'all remember the help? We fought in every war, developed the land, but that we took from the American Indians. Isn't it amazing how Columbus discovered land that was already inhabited by people? But he discovered it. Although black people have contributed so much to this country, we have often been systematically barred from experiencing its benefit, except for a chosen few, often selected by those with power. As a group, we haven't seen the promised land. We may have seen it, but we haven't experienced it. So what could we do to change that? Okay? The strategies that we've used so far haven't changed our economic and social status. So during your lifetime, think about it, how much better have things gotten? What are some things you've thought about doing that maybe you haven't done? Ways you've thought about getting involved, but you haven't gotten involved yet. We need to start pulling the trigger on this stuff. Question: do you understand the strategies that have been employed to keep black Americans a permanent underclass? How did we get here? What happened? What were the strategies? Economically, politically, socially, psychologically, even theologically, the way the Bible was taught to us, or the way it was portrayed to us. Understanding the game we're playing and its rules is critical to making the needed moves to change the game. In sports, in the higher level sports you go to, the more it's this way. With a team, in a team sport, your whole team might not be better than their whole team. So let's say you're playing basketball. Your 5 players, all 5 of them might not be better than their 5 players, or 10 or 12 players. But if you're going to win, what has to happen, your players have to play together better than their players play together for longer stretches of time, and you'll win. And you'll create what are called matchups, where you get your best player on their worst player in situations that causes your team to win. So we as a people have to have a game plan so we can position ourselves to win. Now, I don't have all the answers. We can discover them together. That's the goal of this time together. So what we're going to do is review our shared history and our experience and determine what moves we ought to make. We're going to look at the past, look at where we're at today, and then decide what are some things we should be doing together as a group to change our future. Does that make sense? Now, you guys need to help me. These are just some questions. I thought I had. I'm going to do it. Okay. Why are black Americans still owners of less than 2% of U.S. wealth? No real improvement since 1860. Why is that? Why is that? Why has the number of black politicians increased 8,000% in the past 60 years, but our ability to get things done for black people really hasn't changed that much. Who are the allies that black Americans have to improve their political, educational, social, and economic stature? Who can you trust? Who can you rely on to help you do that? Excuse me. What strategy should black Americans employ to change their quality of life in America? What should we be doing as a group to make things better? I don't know about you, but I just want to sit around for the rest of my life and just kind of play out the string, as they say. So how should black Americans and African American and Africans work to improve life for black people in the diaspora? No matter where you come from, where you live, you got the same uniform on. How can we work together to make it better for all of us? How can these strategies align with our spiritual values so we don't mess that up? And how should we measure success? So these are real questions I think we should answer. Those and a lot more. But I want to get your feedback from you and talk to you about it. So think about this. What strategies have been used to create the current position of blacks, economically, socially, and politically? What's been done? How can it be undone? How can it be turned around? How do we counteract these strategies in today's marketplace to create the new United States of America? If things aren't going to change, if things are going to change, or if your life's going to be different, we are going to have to make some decisions. One, the status quo is not good enough. There's some improved lifestyle that we want, that we can measure. And that we're all working at it together. And what role do you and your family play in this turnaround? If we're going to turn the country around, and I believe we are turning around 180 to go in the opposite direction, how are we going to do that? First way is by changing our thinking. In the Bible, Jesus said, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Repent. So there's a new king here and a new kingdom. You need to change the way you think about everything so you can receive what's going to happen to you from this kingdom. And that's what he was saying to him. You got to change your thinking to change your future. And that change thinking should promote change doing. And if you do the right things the right way with the right people for the right length of time, it's going to work out for you. So what's our reading list? You're going to want to read these books. And this is the recommended order: a Black History Reader, Black Labor, White Wealth, to give you a good foundation of how we got to where we're at. Powernomics is a book about the way out. And book 4 and book 5 are more information about our heritage as black people. So there's the information on the books, the website, the books I encourage you to get. Let me know when you get them through email, or you can text me at 312-569-0757. So email, text, Facebook, let us know that you got these books, okay? And you can start reading them with us. Read book 1, The Black History Reader. Read it this month. Get it done this month or before. What key lessons have you learned each week? Share your insights during our call, like today. Take action to improve our future together. So this is how we're going to get things started. So it's not just come here and listen and go away and do nothing, but it's go away and do something. Okay? So that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. Okay? Now, we're a little bit early. So if there are comments or questions that you have, Put them in the chat. We can talk about them. My director buddy, if there's something you want to talk about or pose questions about, we can do that. But that's what I wanted to share with you today. And this is really heavy on my mind to think about as these midterm elections are coming up. And we're putting our hope in people. Hope is not a strategy. We need to have a strategic plan of what we're doing and how we're doing it. We need to put that together. Okay, so that's it for me. Financial Freedom Fridays. If you like it, share it. Tell other people about it. Get them here. Here's a question. So do you think it costs? How much more do you think it costs to be Black in America? Well, let me ask you guys a question. How would you measure the increased cost? What are some things you would measure? Okay, so think about it. What are some things you would measure? I'm a financial strategist, and I was working with a mom who has her house paid off, her car is basically paid off. She's done well with saving and things like that. And we were talking about her monthly cash flow because she's been working on it 5 years, and she doesn't have a lot of money left over at the end of the month, even though she makes really good money and her expenses are really low. Well, my son got in that trouble and we're paying off his legal bills. So legal things that happen to people in Chicago, and I'm not going to say whether I thought this guy was, what happened to him should have happened to him or not, but it's questionable. So how much more is it costing her to live because she's got that? Inability to get loans or get loans at higher interest rates. Whether you're buying a car, a house, or money for a business or whatever, if you pay a higher interest than the average, does that cost more? I read a study by Citigroup. I shouldn't say the name of the bank. I read a study by a bank. I think it was Citigroup. I'm not sure. It might have been. Could have been. Might have been Chase. Might have been Howard. But they confessed that they have higher loan rates for Black people than white. How much more do you think? I don't know, but I know it does cost more. In my neighborhood, I live in southwest side of Chicago. It's still pretty mixed. But they got these speed cameras on every corner. You know what those speed cameras are? A tax. It's a tax. Because you ain't going to drive every day, all year, and not get a ticket. Come on. Just another tax. So, yeah, I think it does cost more, but how much more? You have to go and look at things that other people are doing to cause you to pay higher costs. Then understand what other people are paying versus you, and you got a good chance. But it does cost more to be Black than white in America. Any other questions? Comments? Again, it's Financial Freedom Friday. I'm excited about going through this topic. I'm learning a lot. Staying up too early in the morning. That's why I got this beard, because I'm reading, thinking, and we got to make a difference, guys. We have to do it. I have kids in my 30s. I hope to have grandkids here in the next year or two. And then they're going to have kids. We got to put stuff in place for our children's children. Real stuff that'll make a difference. So, man, yeah, go vote. We're probably going to vote this afternoon, early. And the people you're voting for, why are you voting for them? What is it you want them to do that's going to make your life better off? What is it you want them to do specifically? And then hold them accountable to get that done. And if they don't do the stuff they said they was going to do, get rid of them. Isn't that what you do if you hired somebody at your company? Oh, they didn't shake out. They didn't pan out. Didn't work out. Had to let them go. Something to think about, guys. If it's to be, it's up to me. It's up to us to change it, okay? So it's good being here with you. Keep the questions coming. Read the books because they will stir you to think, and ideas will come to your brain about what some of the things we ought to be doing. Okay? All right, you guys. You guys have a great day. It's been good chatting with you. We'll see you next Friday, the second Friday in November. All right. Take care. Bye bye.